guys. Give me one, unless this is our third and best shot. I'm still confident this is going to be the one. Feel like this is going to be the one. Come on in. Let me know if you can hear me. Update, update, live streaming. Come on in, everybody. Try one more time. Let's see what we come up with. Very soft as the first try. Okay. Well, so we'll be using the microphone like this today, and then I will be troubleshooting around what the heck happened with the rest of it. Joyce, if I'm holding the microphone here, can you hear me? I don't understand why I was having so much trouble today as opposed to any other day, but it is what it is. Samsung, master bedroom speaker, webcam, show notifications, download over meter connections. Okay, if I do my broadcast settings, let me just make sure that the mic is turned all the way up. Broadcast settings. Microphone is all the way up. Audio quality. Camera. Okay, that's about as best as I think it's gonna have. Mic is great. Yes, I hear you. You can hear what I can hear you when you hold it. All right. Well, so today's gonna be a weird day. That's okay. Every day's weird right now, and so you guys will hang with me, and we'll be fine. All right. So we'll just wait a couple minutes. Everybody's probably like, "What the heck?" We probably blew out about 20 people. They're like, "Oh, phooey, I won't even try today." Um, and Honestly, I haven't touched this microphone setup since yesterday, so no reason why it's not working well. It's just crazy. But what are you going to do? Is the sound all the way up in your computer audio settings? Yep, it's I've got my microphone setting turned up to 100%. It's normally set at about 70%. So, and now I have it on its own USB port, and no explaining it. I think Mike is good. Maybe it was Henry. Henry, you know. Yeah, actually, he sleeps in the bed during the day. He crawls under the covers, and so there's this big lump where he's at right now. And normally about this time he will get up and start causing trouble because he eats about 6:30 or 7, and so so far today he hasn't been out and about too much. He gets up in the morning and does some goofy stuff with us, and then that's it. So um, he's not exactly old, but he's not young either. So his midday nap, which runs from about 10:30 till 4:30, is still in progress at the moment. So let's see. Hi, Kat. No worries. We're all just glad to be here. I agree. Yeah, we've blown out a whole bunch of people, and I feel bad. They were like, oh gosh, well, we had a good number, and now we got half that number. But we'll give them just a few more minutes, and then we'll get started, seeing what we can do. And I'll just play close up to the microphone. Does the mic need external power or use battery? It's actually fully USB powered. This guy. I don't know. It won't focus on it. It's called a CO1U USB studio condenser. So whole thing is just entirely USB powered. So it's been lights out. I mean, it's been a really nice microphone since the previous microphone problem. I've used this guy for years and years and years for different. I make little videos for students sometimes to, they say, hey, can you make a little video of how this song goes or whatever? And I use this microphone for almost everything. And it's disappointing. It's not cooperating today. Again, I'm suspecting it might have something to do with bandwidth here, but I can't believe that it would cause that much of a change. So who knows? Yeah, don't give me a thumbs up so far at all, Laurel. This should be a thumbs down today. Show the back. Yeah, it has no external adjustments on it at all. I think that's and like I say, my USB cable is clean and clear, and it's going straight into the port, which that was a good idea. But it's weird on this USB or this YouTube thing. You can't go back in and adjust your audio settings once it's in. So um, anyway, all right. Well, we got a pretty good amount of you back. Hopefully. Um, you won't have thrown down your ukulele and decided to move over to bagpipes. But that's it. I guess it is what it is today. And I'll talk real loud into the microphone as best I can. I will play directly into the microphone. I'll make the sound as loud as I possibly can. And then I think in the studio, when I go back in to fix this particular video, I should be able to adjust the sound there. And that's all we can do. Let's see. Is that a power jack I see in the mic? Hard to tell. No, there's no power jack at all. It has a USB going into the bass, and then that's it. That's the only thing that's on there. So it's got your normal light and thing right here, and then in the back, that's actually just this little sticker, and it says "Don't throw me in the trash can." That's what that sticker is about. Hi, Linda. Welcome. All right, so I'm going to be. The video is going to be weird today, and the sound I will talk as loudly as I possibly can, and we will do it that way. Okay, let me get something here. I'll be playing real close up to the microphone, so you guys will get to see this giant uh, thing on my head. You're not looking at my head. You're looking at the sheet music anyway. All right. So our plan today was let's go ahead and just start. We'll live with what we got. Today we're going to be playing Yankee Doodle and first, and then we are going to be playing After the Ball, which will be sort of in between difficulty, and then we'll wrap up one more time playing Box Suite from last week. And yeah, thanks, Chris. Don't give up. Don't give up, people. You can do this. We can do this. Um, we will. Um, so we got all three levels really. Yankee Doodle, which is a pretty straightforward and relatively easier piece. Not nothing's easy at this level that you guys are working at, but Yankee Doodle is definitely easier. And then the next level up is um, all through the or after the ball, and then we will wrap up with Box Suite one more time. I think we'll play Box Suite probably every day this week, and then we'll probably put it to the side. I spent a bunch of time on page 4 today because I messed that up pretty good yesterday, and I just want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to play it along with me as many times as possible. Uh, One of the things that we just have a terrible habit of as ukulele players is playing something and then rushing to the next thing and rushing to the next thing and rushing to the next thing. And so we'll hang out with that one for a while. Dave, welcome, newbie from England. Yeah, I am actually speaking incredibly loudly, and the microphone's just for some reason not wanting to cooperate today. So let's. I will be holding this up and doing the best I can to give you some examples, and then I will probably have to play or talk, but not both today. All right, so here's where we're going to go. The first part of Yankee Doodle, as we always do, is we want to go through and either play the melody all the way through or play the chords all the way through. And by the way, Dave, Yankee Doodle, it was. As you probably are aware, an American song that we swiped from the British, and uh, the British wrote it to make fun of the Americans, and then they took it on as their own. And so, thank you for that, Dave. We appreciate your work in 1770 or wherever. It was probably earlier than that the song was invented, and we've adopted it as our own. As most of you know, Yankee Doodle is not one of those songs you really, really, really want to play, but the technique and tools inside of this piece are actually very important. And so they'll give you all of the basic pieces and parts that you'll need to progress as an instrumental ukulele player, and hopefully then you will find that you're um, able to play just about anything if this is making sense to you. So first thing, let's go through. Let's play it just with the chords. You of course know about my singing, so brace yourself. It's going to be a thing of beauty. And then we're going to run through all of the chords. The chords you're going to be using here today on this one are C chord, F chord, and G chord, which are our home base. That's where we live as ukulele players, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to set this right here, and I'm going to give you C chord looks like this. Okay, ring finger, first string, third fret, sound, right? That's what we love about ukulele. F chord, index finger here, middle finger up there. Okay, there's that. And then your other chord is not a G7 but a real G chord. It's going to be here, here, and here. Okay, and then back to C. When you are strategizing, when you're a newer player and you're trying to get your chords in, what you're really thinking about, not so much of what chords are in the song, but how to get from one to the other. In this case, you're going to be doing a lot of C to G. So you're going from your C, put your index finger down first, then wrap these two fingers as your G. Okay? That's how we get back and forth. To get back to C, all you have to do is roll down and get there. We have one place where you got to go from C to F. Again, chase your index finger there, middle finger up there. That's going to make that much simpler. To get back, of course, ring finger down, and you do these two just disappear on you. And then one time, I think once or twice, we're going to go from F chord to G chord. This is the harder one. F chord, again, chase your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and then back to C. Okay. So one of the things I do an awful lot when I'm getting ready to start a piece is go through and double check that I'm going to be successful on the chords. And if there's a couple of chords that are going to be a booger for me, I want to spend some time thinking about the chord before that mean chord and after that mean chord. In this case, if you're a newer player, G chord is one of those chords that's kind of mean to you. And we will, of course, you'll get over that one because G chord turns out to be something that you eventually get. Well, you get it pretty quickly when you find out B flat's waiting for you. And what you want to do is just be mindful that it is a hard chord when you're first starting and that you're going to be practicing getting from C to G and back to C, or in some cases from F over to G. Just practice that part of it and then get good at that. Okay. When we're strumming and singing, you want to have your chord on by the time we hit that first beat of the next measure. And so don't fall asleep on the chord that you're using. Go ahead and quit strumming whatever chord you're on and get your next chord on as early as you need to so that you're ready by the first beat. All right, here we go. I'm going to be singing. You're going to be being sad, and you're going to play, get the chords on as best you can. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a pony. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy. Don't let up on your chord until it's done ringing out. And for those of you who are more advanced players, right hand, I just did a straight thumb down. You should probably be thinking of something much more creative to do with your right hand. To wit, hopefully you're looking at something like playing an arpeggio pattern looks like this, or just plucking all four. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then also make sure, as you are playing with your left hand, that your thumb is heading back behind the neck so it's not sticking up like this, and make your life easy, right? And this is going to, long term, going to make your life so much better. All right. Now, next part of this is going through the melody. Whoops, I hit the wrong sheet. When we go through the melody on this one, we typically play index on 1, middle on 2, and ring on 3. We don't want to do that in this case. We really want to start with the index on 3, because if you look through that melody line, the ukulele line up there, you're going to be doing 3s, fives, and sevens. And so you're going to want to have your index, ring, and pinky on those three, fives, and sevens. It's going to make things so much easier and so much easier. Or did I just say that? It's just going to make things smoother and go better for you. If we start in third position, this is called third position because you're on the third fret. And then we're going to have the ring and pinky like that. And that's going to make us sound so smooth and so beautiful. We're going to be really proud of ourselves. We are going to read the tablature line now, so play along with me. I'm going to try to make sure you can at least see my left hand. All I'm going to be doing is plucking them with my right hand through the whole thing, and that should be a G on measure 15. Be should the G on measure 15 be a G7? Um, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, if you can, if you want to finish with a little bit more of a flourish on there, yeah, absolutely, knocking a G7. I keep a G on there because we're really not working on that as the this is a pretty early piece in my introductory class, and so I want them to be working on a G chord, and so I want them to work on that all the way through the song. But yeah, absolutely. If you feel like, hey, a G7 was going to sound better there, toss it on there. It'll be fine. All right. If you are playing tablature, play with me. If you are not up to playing tablature, play the chords. Here we go. One, two, three, four. Okay, how'd you do? If you were able to keep up with me playing tablature, that's super exciting. That's what we work on here initially, is getting you comfortable with plucking a single line melody from a real piece of music. Once you've learned how to do that, the world is your oyster. You can play forever. You will always have another challenge with every piece of music that you get to. It will always be one more thing to try. And if you are in Denver and you're playing in the orchestra, uh, that's one of the main parts that we do is we need people just to play melody lines. And we have 70 or 80 people in that group, and we will have different melody lines all going simultaneously. So you get the chord built out of multiple people playing multiple tablature lines. And so that's something you really, I think, those of you guys that are around the country and around the world um, can take to back to your ukulele groups and say, hey, at the end of our strum session, when we're done singing Bob Dylan and the same Beatles songs that we sing every week, and the same pirate songs, and the same cowboy songs, and the same, there's sort of the standard list of songs we sing at strum alongs. Then stop everybody, right before the end, and say, hey, let's pick one song and we're going to pluck through it. And this would be one of those songs. Most Americans know it, and you can go through and just pluck that out, and it's kind of fun. It's just a next level skill you can start working with your group. And then for those people who don't like singing, they've got an option for playing as well. It's a little bit harder option, and they will play along with their way of playing while everybody else is strumming and singing. And it's just one more tool that they have in their toolbox, and something. It's a nice gift to give to people. Teach them how to play tablature. I'm forcing myself to play G and not G7. Can't be on lazy bones. Um, Joyce, you're probably knocking out your G chord pretty well at this point. Yeah, I think what we're talking about over here in chat is, hey, that last measure, we're used to it being a G7 chord, where it creates a little bit of tension. Usually the chord right before the last chord, like for example, in this song, we're in the key of C. So we start with C and we end on C. That's very common. And it's also very common in these sort of traditional tunes that the measure right before the last chord will have a seventh chord in it. So in this case, measure 15, instead of a G, it's very normal for us to put a G7 chord in there. And those of you who know that system or will like playing that way, there's absolutely fine to toss in a G7 there if you'd rather. And again, I arranged this for a pedagogical reason. I want to really work on the G chord. People, when they first get into playing ukulele, boy, putting that G chord on is really, really a lot of work. And this is just a chance for this song to work on that particular one. Putting on G7 is actually easier than putting on G, and so I want it. I want, like Joyce is powering through with her G chords. All right, so that's the chords. That's the melody. If you sit down with a friend and you invite them over for a beer, you say bring your ukulele. You play the chords. I'll play the melody. We're gonna have a great time. And I think when I'm working with students one on one, I we do an awful lot of that where we are playing. One of us is playing chords and the other is playing the melody. And again, it's sort of it works out to be a metronome. It works out to be this thing you're like, oh, I have to keep up now. I can't worry about my mistakes. I got to let them go. I got to keep up with my partner. And that metronome is so much friendlier and nicer, and it laughs and has a good time versus a real metronome, which doesn't think any of this is funny. Click, 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 click. My advanced students, they love the metronome, right? That's what they live for. They want to know what the metronome settings are and all this stuff. But when you're a newer player, metronome can be very, very demoralizing. Frankly, I try to avoid it until I'm getting ready to put something on as a piece of performance piece, and then I go through and use a metronome to double check it. But I would say on a day-to-day basis, if you are a newer player and you really want to make your life miserable, metronome is a really effective way to do that. Um, on the other hand, if you are a newer player and you want to get really good really fast and you're willing to put up with a metronome, then absolutely, but bring it into use. But I think that you want to make that decision about what you want to do and not have somebody tell you it's super super important that you use that. All right. Last piece of this puzzle is the tough uke. Some of you are ready for that. Some of you are not. Let's look through it real quick. The first three measures, you're just going to be strumming a beautiful C chord and then playing a couple of melody notes. When you get to measure four, you're going to play a C chord and then you're going to switch to G chord. Okay, then you're going to go back to C chord and you're going to play one more measure with a little bit of melody following it. The hard part is measure 6. I'm going to show you on my ukulele what that looks like. 5, 5, 5, 8. And do remember when we read tab, we read it from the bottom up. And so it's not 8, 5, 5, 5. It is 5, 5, 5, 8. Here's what that's going to look like when you get there. Let me put this microphone. Bar on 5, pinky on 8. Okay, so that's this great F chord that's further up the neck. That's the one you want to be ready for. And then you play that, and you play a couple of melody notes after that. And then in measure 7, you go back to your G chord. And really, it's pretty straight riding from there out. Measure 8, you got a C chord a couple of times. Measure 9, you got an F chord. The only other thing you got to be ready for, measure 10, it also shows up in measure 14, is you're going to use this F chord, but you're going to need to put your pinky on the third fret of the first string. So you put your F chord on, and then you're adding in that pinky right there on the third fret. So that's what's going to end up looking like. You can use your ring finger. For some of you, that makes more sense to use a ring finger. I just, after many years of blowing this in when I was playing, I switched over to my pinky finger, and I do much better with it. So I recommend using your pinky finger there. All right, we're going to play through the tough uke. I'll have to set the microphone on my lap, and I'm hoping that the sound will be good enough. And let's see how we do. Grab your C chord to get started. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. your chord until your ukulele is finished ringing out, and then look up to your audience and get your accolades of how thrilled they are that you just played Yankee Doodle for them. All right, so that's Yankee Doodle. Hopefully, that gives you something to work on. If you're a newer player, give you three very definite things to work on. Number one, C chord, F chord, and G chord. Those are our homeland. That's where we live. Next is playing through the ukulele line, the tablature. Again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you get where you're comfortable reading tablature on fretted instruments, because once you can learn read it on ukulele, you can then play guitar, banjo, mandolin, all of the fretted instruments. The tablature is exactly the same, and so you can play all of those instruments as well. The other thing that we played through was the tough axe, which is chord and melody smashed together. That's where I think all adults who are serious about instrumental ukulele, they want to play that. And did have a conversation with a couple of people yesterday and today over email about standard notation. Had one violin player talk to me and another former piano. I think they might have been a current piano player. Just talk to me about, hey, how important that standard notation is. That's your melody line on this one. Chords and lyric line is what I'm calling it these days. What you really are talking about with that is, if you would rather not use tablature, you absolutely can do that. That's why all of the sheet music I give to you always has the melody line on there. It helps you know the spacing between the notes, and it really is an activity that you can undertake if you have prior music experience to really learn to read the standard notation, and then you don't necessarily have to rely on the tablature. Those of you without that background, you should know that you really don't need to do that. That's one of those things that a lot of prior knowledge type thing can sometimes send you down a crazy path. Most ukulele players, honestly, and I'm talking about 99% of them, really make very little use of standard notation, and mostly we use tablature. The business with standard notation is you can absolutely positively replace tablature with standard notation. Yeah, that's what they do with classical guitar. Is they don't use tablature, they just use standard notation. But unfortunately, if you look at most classical guitar standard notation, there is tons of information they've had to go back in and write in about fingerings and where on the fretboard and that type of stuff we use it. It's much different than piano, where the note is the note. It's very clear which note you're supposed to play. On fretted instruments, there's lots of places where these notes will show up, and so you end up having to make decisions about what's the best particular shape to use. And so, for example, in ukulele, this C chord, your regular C chord, and the bar chord C chord that's right here, that out of the way, that chord and that chord look exactly the same in standard notation. And so that's why I think that tablature has a real advantage in being able to read it quickly and helpful and being able to read it quickly, right? And our long term goal on a song that we care about is not to use the paper at all, right? We're just using the paper to get that stuck in our noggin, to turn it into a song that we like to play, and then get rid of the paper. And so whatever we can use paperwork wise to get the song into us more quickly is the correct thing to do. However, of course, of most songs you're not going to memorize, it's just not worth the effort or time. And Yankee Doodle was probably one of those songs. And so you probably be thinking about, do I really need to dig in and memorize that, or do I just want to get good at reading the paper? Let's see, Fran's question. It really makes it easier for me to use standard notation. Yeah, Fran, somebody with some prior background, the standard notation is absolutely helpful to her. Um, I can't play music, haven't heard before without it. I can't figure out the rhythm without it. Yeah, that's the one thing that standard notation gives us that tablature utterly fails on. If you look at that standard notation, it tells you how long to hold every single note, whereas the tablature doesn't give you any of that information. And so with tablature, unfortunately, the length between notes is generally determined by what the lyric is. And so however long, if you got a real long word, it will put way more space between tablature notes than necessary, and it makes it very confusing how long to hold a note. And so that's where the standard notation comes in. The other thing I think is that if you are in a position where you're learning a song, hopefully you've listened to it, the MP3, you know exactly what's on the paper prior to even beginning looking at it. And so hopefully then, yeah, maybe you don't even need this standard notation. You're just looking for where to put your fingers on your instrument, and then that's going to go. All right, let's move on to after the ball. What time is it? 5:15 already. We blew all that time with trying to figure out the sound. Okay, let's run through this, guys. A lot of times people accuse me of wanting to play old-fashioned music, but here's the thing: this was the number one song, huge deal in 1891. It was a runaway hit, 5 million copies according to Wikipedia. Still the number one song from the Tin Pan Alley era, and so this is. Charles, what was his name? Charles Harris. He was the Ariana Grande of his day. By the way, she's doing better than the Beatles did with her track record on sounds. The top 100. So get to know her as well. But this was a big deal at the time. It's about basically it's about a girl sitting on her uncle's lap saying, "How come you never married?" And he says, "Well, the girl that I was in love with kissed somebody else at the ball, and I was just devastated. And I went home and I just gave up on life altogether. And then now that she's dead, I have suddenly learned that the guy that she was kissing at the ball was her brother." So he wasted his life over this song, and it's very just breaks your heart. All right, now, um, oh, you like having all that? Yeah, heck yeah, Joyce. This hopefully the stuff I'm giving you helps you with really just come to grips with everything about ukulele and like most of you guys get it at this point. Hey, this sheet music is designed to be attacked in whatever way you're ready to attack it at, and I write good music, and I hope that. It's showing up in your playing ability that you can grab these pieces of paper, find what level you want to play it at. The biggest challenge you have with me is that I pick songs I like, and I like I like lame music, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I like awesome music. Who knows? All right, let's talk about after the ball. First chord's an F, which you should be fine with at this point. B flat. Let's talk about that very quickly. It's everybody's chord they hate. B flat, cover two, middle, ring. Okay, sounds like this. Beautiful. Uh, if you are new to B flat, it's likely to sound like this. Okay, if your B flat sounds like that, you tell yourself, that is how I'm going to play B flat today. I love my B flat with the thunks in it. And then your life will be a much better thing to experience. If you're losing your mind that your B flat doesn't sound clean and pretty, then shake yourself. Nobody's B flat sounds great when they're first starting, so let it be terrible. Also, I do recommend you use a full bar instead of a partial bar, but you pick whichever. No, if you use a half bar, it's not going to create a situation down the road that is going to be detrimental to you. It's just better if you start learning a full bar now because you've got lots of bar chords coming, and we want to get you comfy with it. So let's talk about the half bar and the full bar. Here is the half bar, middle ring, and then here's the full bar, middle ring. Both of those are absolutely acceptable choices. Hi, Melody. All right, so then the other chords in here, not too troublesome. You got a C7 at measure 7. Hopefully that one's making sense. Measure 9, that G minor. We've already encountered that all last week in the Bach piece. That's going to come up a lot. It's a beautiful chord. I'm often amazed at how many people don't know that when we're at a strum along and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know what a G minor is." It's really a beautiful chord. So take a minute to figure that one out. I'll show it to you. Here, here, and here. Index, middle, ring. Just a beautiful piece, beautiful chord. Then you've got D7 at measure 11, not too challenging. It is going to show up. D7s show up a lot of times just randomly. They don't even fit in the chord or in the key, but this one does. Well, it shows up. It just is sound. It's going to sound crazy when we get there. After the dancers leaving, and that's the only other chord in there is that D7. And so let's go through, play it real quick. I'm going to sing. Sorry. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. After the oh, oh, let me get on the right frets and then we'll start again. One, two, three. After the ball is over, after the break of dawn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone. One, two, three. Many a heart is aching. A D chord here. If you could read them all, two, three, one, two. Sorry. Many the hopes that have vanished after the ball, two, three, and then you would repeat that at the end of measure 16. You go right back up above. Um, Notice there also there's two different D7s in here. A lot of people ask about that. There's this D7. We call that the easy D7. And then we have this D7, which is a bar with either your middle finger or your ring finger on there. And you can, if you use your ring finger, you can use this finger as a bar pusher downer. Okay. Hi, Melody. Did I say hi to you? Um, so there's that. Okay. This D7 and this D7. Difference is this one's really easy to get to. Downside of this one, the 7 of the D7 is sitting here on this string, and it just, it's not the greatest place for it. The other weird thing about this D7 is there's no D in it. This D7 is obviously got a lot more pop. It's got the C chord, C note on the top here, so it sounds very 70. And the D is sitting right here in the bass where it's supposed to be. So this is the good D7. And this is the easy D7. And you'll use both, so it's good to know both. All right, let's play through it one more time, just with chords. Let me get my, here we go. One, two, three. After the ball is over, after the break of dawn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. Two, three. If you could read them all, two, three, one, two, three. Many the hopes that have vanished after the ball. And then on that last chord there, measure 33, you guys have already finished up, but just notice measure 33, you got that F chord that we learned in Yankee Doodle. Shows up right there. Okay, there. So there's that. All right, after the ball, let's play the melody. Get your tablature on, focus. Okay, I'm dancing all around here with this microphone, so I do apologize. Hopefully you're still able to hear me. Okay, good enough, right? All right, I'm just going to play straight through the melody. Hang with me. If you're playing tablature and this is your thing, if this is the thing you're working on, that's what you want. You just hang with me. If you miss a note, you got to let it go, right? You can't go back and fix it. Just let it go. One, two, three. Oh, three, oh, one, two, three. Oh, two, three. Oh, three, oh, one, two, oh, two, three. One, two, and then you would repeat, or if you were playing the second ending, you would come up here to to the eighth fret and get that in there. Okay, so that's the melody. Hopefully, that's making some sense. Let's play the tough acts really quickly. How are we doing on time? We're messed up the whole day today with this microphone. Poor microphone. All right, let's go back. We're going to talk tough uke real quick. Again, on measure one, you're going to do that F chord with your pinky. That's going to show up there. Next thing, Dave, thanks for stopping in. I know it's crazy hour in England. I really appreciate you being here. Good luck. Glad, absolutely delighted you stopped by. All right, measure two, you got a B flat in there. You've got index, middle, and ring. Make sure you're doing a rest stroke there. Your thumb's going to come down and do this. If you are working next level, you are probably going to be plucking this whole thing. In this case, you're going to be doing a thumb, index, and middle on that. Okay, and then coming in with your index finger to get the next two. So whichever system you want to come up with is fine. What I recommend, use your thumb one time through and then go through the second time and do your claw picking. That way you have created a reason to go back and play the song twice. Otherwise, you're just playing it twice and it's the same both times. Try to play it differently the second time through to give your audience something to be thrilled by. All right. Let's talk about anything else. Measure nine, you've got your G minor chord, and you're going to put your pinky up on the five to get the melody note in there. What else is interesting on this song? Let's see. Oh, when you get to measure 21, you're going to put your whole D chord on, but you get this really fun D to D7 run where you're going to go 0, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, all the zeros. Then you're going to slide over to your bar and put that shape on. And then you're going to come back to the 3. And then you get to go to the G7. It's a really fun part of that run there. And probably something that's worth working on. These kind of it's not really a turnaround, it's really sort of the high point of this song. If you could read them all. It's very typical of Tin Pan Alley to run a bunch of seventh chords into one after the other, and you don't see that in modern music as much. But in that era, boy, seventh chord to seventh chord to seventh chord was a very common thing to do. We'll see that again when we do 5'2". Is that tomorrow? We'll see, or maybe the next day. We'll put a whole bunch of seventh chords all in a row, and it really creates this very fun, moving piece of instrumental fun, right? It's something that makes playing ukulele worthwhile. All right, and then to finish up that song, there's nothing particularly challenging. Let's play through it twice. Let's go ahead and that'll give you guys that are working on thumb just to work all your thumb through twice. And then for those of you who are working on both thumb and your claw picking, that'll give you a chance to do both. Okay, so from the top, 1, 2, 3. Let your ukulele ring out. Don't let off that chord until the last minute. That's beautiful, right? That's totally worth being a number one song. Um, and you're sad because he's messed up the ball. So, um, all right. Because the microphone is a disaster today, and I'm going to figure out what happened here, and hopefully tomorrow will be better. I think it's going to be best if we put Box Minuet Suite off until tomorrow. If you came here exclusively to play that, go check out yesterday's video. It's posted and I edited it already. So go check that out and play along with that video. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll have a much better result from the microphone. I'll troubleshoot tonight and find out if there's a reason why this is being so weird. And if not, I do have a fourth, I think about the fourth or fifth microphone in this video camera here, and possibly it'll work a little better. So I'm going to skip playing Box Minuet just because I'm going to fight the microphone and the music and all this. So please work on Box Minuet tonight in any way that makes sense to you. So maybe playing the chords, maybe playing the melody, maybe playing the tough, whatever makes sense to you. And then also we'll try playing through all through the night, or not all through the night, whatever song we just played through after the ball. We'll play through that again tomorrow just to give you guys another opportunity just to play and enjoy the day. Sorry about all this sound problems today. I will troubleshoot this and I will see what I can do to get everything cleaned up for you tomorrow. I am behind. Jerry gave me a talking to on email today that I'm not responding to emails quickly enough, which is who I am. That's how I work. And so please know if you sent me an email, I'm getting to it. And please, questions for me, just let me know. Send me an email and I'll get to you. Let's see, had a great time as usual. Great cat, love that. Um, yeah, our worlds are a mess, and we're here for at least 3 more weeks. So, gosh, by the time we get out of here, you guys are going to be fabulous ukulele players, and we will look back on this time as being the weirdest time that many of us have ever had to live through. Thankfully, if you stay inside, you'll be safe and you'll live through it just fine. And also, possibly you'll walk out of here with some mad ukulele skills that not only can you go out and move Jake Shimabukuro off the stage and you can take over, or you can just make you and your cat real happy sitting in the basement. Or the third possibility is you just take this stuff I'm handing out and go start your own ukulele program and start teaching everybody how to play as well. Just one more way. Lots of singers are doing just fine teaching you some chords and having you sing along to your favorite songs from your teenage years. We're grabbing the number one song from 1891 and killing it. And so just know that you're learning some mad skills, and hopefully it's all going to be a great opportunity for you to use this dumb virus as a chance to become a great musician. All right, guys, I'll end the stream here. I do apologize for the sound one last time, and tomorrow I'm going to hope that everything just magically cures itself. But by tomorrow, I'll see if there's actually something wrong with this. I doubt it, but it might be. Last not thoughts. Technology is great when uh yeah, I will figure it out. Thankfully we have it at all, right? I'm afraid it's going to be I'm afraid that it's going to be me and my cat in the basement, but no, don't be afraid, Tanya. That's where I come from. Me and my cat in the basement, and it worked out just fine for us. And well, actually, my other cat didn't. He only lasted 21 years, so he's done. But the current cat is under the bed, under the covers of the bed right now, and he's trying to figure out why the heck I make all this racket with this ridiculous machine. So, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for everything. Apologize for the sound. I will see hopefully all of you tomorrow. We have 5'2" Eyes of Blue coming either tomorrow or the next day, and you're going to want to be a part of that. I'll see you later.